down the Nile. The first pyramids, look at these they're smaller.
Right.
These pyramids right here are in Sudan. This is called the Royal City. That's Sudan. Where do you think that statue is from? You think it's from Egypt? That statue. Right? You would bet $1 billion is the Egyptian. It's Sudanese. Right? And I got proof right here. I guarantee you it's proof. Let me see. I know I can find it somewhere. Well, of course, the Sphinx that Napoleon shot the thing off of. Now that's Egypt. Look at the body on that statue. Is that an African body or a martyr, skinny Egyptian? Tell the truth.
No,
Just look at it. You don't have to ask no questions. Oh,
Right.
yeah, that's one of the girls. Right? It's simple. You can see it from over there. Look at it.
Right, yeah.
Hey, man. Perception management. They got us believing civilization went up the Nile from Egypt to Sudan, other way around. The pyramids, which are tombs, the hieroglyphics, the writing, Sudan, down to Egypt. That's why things go downstream. I'm telling you, there's so much perception going on, misrepresentation. And I could do this stuff all day. The lady asked me when I was at that stop where I got the Vicksburg thing. This is Till trial opens in the summer. It was a display there about the Emmett Till trial. Older black people and I was. So they asked me, now I'm going to get ready to cross the river into Arkansas. I'm in Mississippi. So they said, do you know about this trial? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm going right across the river. I said, we got shoes when we started school. All of us talking about our age. I said, we was barefooted. And wasn't we barefooted till we started school? We was. Can you imagine how the Negro feels? 15 years before he's barefooted, and he got mink-covered cars. I mean, good God Almighty. The thing is unbelievable. Right? So when people tell me about how great America is, you need more money, I tell them, well, I was fortunate. I got all of that. I got all of that. Color-coded dressing, all of that stuff. But the point is, none of it is like this. And you have to realize, you have to give thanks to Allah for allowing you the opportunity to deal with all this stuff. This is all 100 years ago, almost a long time ago. And we didn't have, from then up to now, to study trial and error. Let's try this and see what happens. Now at first, we were like victims of the society, just like Malcolm and King were. They were victims of it.
That's what he said.
Yeah, they're victims of America. It's true at first. But we're not victims now. They're still doing the same dumb stuff. But do it seem like we're victims of it? No, we're not victims because we didn't have time. That's why, look, dear believers, that thing about longevity is really important. It's not because you want to live a long time, but you don't get time to check things out. You know what I mean? They killed all our heroes right away. Why do you think we're so firm about this stuff? They've been doing it all along. They did it to our parents and grandparents and all of that. So it's all right. That's why we don't bat no eye. When I was over at the hospital, what's the only thing I said? I had all them stitches in my head. I probably looked pitiful. I know I did this. Optimism, right? So I couldn't say nothing else. I didn't know nothing else. I couldn't have said cheeseburger if you would have, right? Maybe if you would have showed me a picture of one, I'd have thought of what I said. What the hell is that thing? No, that's what they did. But here we are. Who's the ones acting crazy? They are. They call. Why do they call here? You think I don't want them to call? I'd leave the phone on. They can call all they want. And what do they sound? Like stupid people. You wouldn't waste any time trying to figure out why they call you, or they would win. So you said, call. I just want everybody to hear it. And that's why I push the button. What do you have to say? Oh, you da-da-da-da. Well, that's enough. Ooh. Because we're not a victim anymore. Now we're the predator. You have to understand where we are. We're the predator of them. We stalking them. They're not stalking us. Either it's true or we're crazy. You can figure it out yourself. I'm not going to convince nobody. All I'm telling you is, this is where we are, right this minute. Okay. Arsenal, kindness, optimism, humor. Right. Credit to the race. Did I mention John Lewis forgave the white folks, but he didn't forgive Imam Jamil and Stokely Carmichael and them? That's pitiful. He didn't lift a finger. He knew what the FBI did to Dr. King and them. All he wanted to be in Congress. You think if he was like Hubert Harrison or Willie Ricks and them, they'd have had him, carried his body around, looked like he was a martyr or something. Had it in D.C., sent it down in Dixie 2-3 times, right? Because he's they nigga. I'm not against him, he's fine. He had a right to push that nonviolent stuff. Because we have a right to our own position. But they ain't gonna carry Imam Jamil around to all them places. They didn't carry Stokely around. Okay. There's something magic in forgiveness. There's something special about it. It's like if you got a weight or a burden, it goes away. It's magic, it's special. So our suggestion is everybody that wants to travel lightly, right? Don't take any hatred, any malice, or anything like that. Because there's magic in forgiveness. Base areas, how have we been dealing with our Masjid? Okay, we had 10, we had the ones on Sunday or the Saturday, okay. In a revolution, boss man used to start fires everywhere. Like for instance, say it's the Panther Party. Panther Party grew so fast that they couldn't control it. And how many people you think the police put in there? Almost every one of them, If the FBI is out to get them, they're going to automatically fill it up with police. And they're going to kill only the ones that are valuable and good. So,
I was looking on my phone, I just happened to come across an article. And the title of the article is The Political Economy of Revolutionary Struggle, Lessons from the Black Panthers.
Right.
So I was reading through it, and it was talking about how at one point, the Panthers got up to like where they had like millions of dollars.
Right, right.
Okay. But it kind of goes with what you're saying. But then it talks about how when after the Vietnam War, the liberals pulled out. So that had an effect on their money.
Okay.
And basically that's what this article was saying, kind of caused, and I thought I was going to ask you about it.
No, that wasn't the effect on the Panthers. They was broke now.
Mm-hmm.
By the time
Did they get to $1 million? Because that's what this is.
Okay, let's look at Bobby Seale was in Chicago, handcuffed to the chair,
Right.
gagged.
Right.
Erica Huggins was up here going to court. The brothers down in Louisiana, the brothers in Seattle. The officers in LA was attacked, right? So either Huey was in jail or Bobby Seale was going around to 68 to raise money. Charles Gary was one of their attorneys. He was a big white man. He got a lot of them. But the distribution of the newspaper got up to way, it was like several 100,000. They said they got up to $1 million.
It kind of said, I was trying to find the exact number, but it said, let me see if I can find it. But basically, it was more than $1 million, but it was in the millions that they said the organization had reached at one point, and then
you got to remember though, it wasn't in the so-called the white folks didn't leave the party. Shoot, in 71, 72, Jane Fonda and them were still visiting Huey. What's the Godfather? Marlon Brando and all them. All of them was, they had a whole crew.
Right.
They had a whole crew that was, it wouldn't be impossible for them to have that amount of money. The only thing is it was going everywhere. Yes.
Did the nation of Islam help? Help?
Absolutely not. No. You go to anywhere you go right now, go ask. Say, but I'm doing a little bad. I gotta pay some rent. Well, we can't. We gotta build a nation.
The nation had money back then. A lot of money.
Not only did they have money, but I can tell you some of the people that made sure they had money.
I found it. It's talking about how, at certain fundraisers they would raise like $100,000.
Right.
So they talk about 1970s specifically.
1970.
Yeah.
That's
and
possible.
It says January 1970 saw $100,000 raised through small donations. That year, the Panthers had a budget of $1.2 million.
A budget.
A budget. Yeah.
Okay, but remember the budget. Remember the officers they got?
Right.
$1 million
Right.
for all them officers.
Right.
We had a budget that big in Oakland for this one city. Yeah, we circulated that much money around. Right. That's why it just, you got to call Oakland to hear about it. I'm telling you, Oakland was a budget. They got New York. They got, man.
Right.
This is what made things. The Black Panther Party was an idea whose time has come. But they couldn't send no trained people to no place. The place was growing so fast. people would pop up and they would come to Oakland and say, we from Jersey, we from so-and-so, we want a 10-point program. They give them a 10-point program. This is the problem. They were all Negroes with a little semi-consciousness. They got the 10-point program. They didn't get any time to deal with tazkiyah bil-nafs, purification of the self. So they ran the girls all around in a circle trying to have sex all day. That's what Pete told me about Algeria when I was in Tanzania. Excuse the language. He said, pussy got us put out of Algeria. It wasn't the Arabs didn't like us. The Arabs watched them. The Algerians watched them. They watched them. I told them at the meeting, I said, you can't go down to the Rue de Douche Morad every day buying hashish and nobody knows about it. They got agencies. They're gonna, they watch them. They would watch everybody, the Vietnamese. They watch, if somebody's hosting you, they're gonna put somebody on you to watch your movements. It's automatic. They didn't care. They just did what they wanted to do. I think what they did with the money I gave them was it gave them enough money to leave. When I came back to see them, because I told them I'm going to go and, my proposal was at the meeting in Algeria was, for a revolution we're going to need guns and bullets and weapons. I said, for my expertise we can do it through drugs. And we started a drug cartel. They said, do you have them already? I said, well, we'll get them. There ain't no problem. They're out there, so you just go hook it up. Yeah, ain't no problem. So they said, well, we can't do it. That's against our ethics. Then everybody else, so I ain't gonna mention the names, but my friends thought it was a wonderful idea. Right? So when I went to South America, first I went to Scandinavia, then I went to South America. And I hooked it up. And after we got rolling, I went back to Algeria to take them the first big batch of money. And they was gone. I said, man, that's cold. Because now remember, I'm not going to contact any of them or anything. So then I said, well, let me go down to Tanzania. Because I went down there and a lot of the brothers Pete was down there. He took over the party after Elder stepped down in 72, he took over the party. Remember the guy I was telling you that did security for the party?
Right. Yeah.
That was Pete ONeill. The Panther in Africa, he's still there right now. In fact, anytime y'all want to get, it's best to get in contact as soon as possible, because I'm the youngest out of all these guys, so that means, yes.
I saw a documentary on ONeill because he got a house for Geronimo Pratt, where Geronimo went over there to live. I think
No, Geronimo died over there. Geronimo married eldest Cleaver's daughter.
Right.
Yeah, I saw.
And yeah. Well, no, Pete ONeill is a good friend of mine. But Geronimo looked really healthy, though. He looked kind of healthy. He could have got some African stuff. But actually, they're up at near Kilimanjaro. They're 14,000 feet up. Arusha, where Pete is 14,000. In other words, it's good weather up there. Nice and cool at night. It's not like the tropics. Dar es Salaam is in the tropics. It's burning up, hot. Snakes everywhere, all kind of everything running around. No, in those days you could be driving down the road and you see them giraffe walking by. You know, that's the way it was in those days. You know, it was, you didn't have to go on safari. If you left town, you was on a safari. No, all of those Ngoro crater, Norodatu crater, you know, all animals just living. It's just like almost, it's like on a movie. Yeah, it was just wonderful. But anyway, Pete was in East Africa, and he told me what happened up there. And it's a long story. But anyway, we'll get to some of that in a minute. Let's see. So, J. Edgar Hoover did his job on the Panthers. I feel like we have a special mission. In fact, I'm certain of it. That our job was to absorb and learn, archive, and chronicle, and teach, and train, and educate, and show people physically what can be done. That's what we're doing right now. So, we don't say we start to work tomorrow, but starting, we say this all the time, but it's been started a long time ago. Here's what we do. We just have a regular schedule. Program work. We maybe start at the house. We'll assign or delegate somebody to that white car out there, somebody to the white car around there. You know, it is strange that your cars all just stopped when they ran like watches. You ever bought a car running, it just run like a nice little watch. You know, but it don't run like that now, you know. But all you got to do, if you know cars, just turn the loose there. I won't know what it is unless you turned it. Nobody can actually find out. The FBI and all them, they got so many mechanics, they can turn something. It won't show up on the machine. It won't do nothing. Some of the cars I have, the cars will be running hot, but the gauge won't say hot. Because if it say hot, you pull over and check the liquids and everything. Every car blew up on the highway, and what's her name knew it right down there at Forestville. He haven't been answered the thing yet. But,
Maybe he did.
huh?
Maybe he did.
Okay. Here's the way we see ourselves. The last of the old-time Negroes. See, we